Imagine a predator so cunning, so depraved, that he lured over 190 children to their deaths and got away with it for years. In the 1990s, Colombia was gripped by terror as young boys vanished from the streets, only to be found in unimaginable conditions. This is the story of Luis Garavito, known as La Bestia, the Beast, a man who confessed to killing over 190 boys and may have claimed even more. How did one man evade justice for so long? And what drove him to commit some of the most horrific crimes in history? Stick with me, because this story will haunt you, and you won't believe how it ends. To understand the terror of Luis Garavito, we need to step back to Colombia in the 1990s. The country was a battleground, torn apart by a decades-long civil war. Drug cartels ruled the streets, and violence was a way of life. Over 520,000 children were displaced, many living on the streets, selling newspapers, shining shoes, or begging to survive. These kids, often from broken homes, were invisible to society. No one noticed when they disappeared, and that made them the perfect targets for a predator like Garavito. But who was this man, and how did he become La Bestia? Luis Alfredo Garavito Cubillos was born on January 25, 1957 in Genova, a small town in Quindío, Colombia. The eldest of 7 siblings, his childhood was anything but normal. His father, Manuel Antonio Garavito, was abusive, and Luis faced physical and emotional torment. But it got worse. At age 13, Luis was sexually abused by a family friend, a trauma that would shape his twisted psyche. By 14, he was kicked out of his home after attempting to assault a 5-year-old boy. This was the first sign of the darkness growing inside him. Garavito dropped out of school in 5th grade, worked odd jobs and drifted across Colombia. He battled alcoholism and mental illness, but his most disturbing trait was his obsession with young boys. By his 30s, he was no longer just a troubled man. He was a predator, ready to unleash his rage on the most vulnerable. On October 4, 1992, in Jamundí, Colombia, Garavito committed his first confirmed murder. His victim was 13-year-old Juan Carlos, a boy he lured with promises of money. Garavito, drunk and enraged, bought a butcher's knife and synthetic rope. He led Juan Carlos to a secluded spot where he tortured, raped, and killed him. This was the beginning of a 7-year killing spree that would span 11 of Colombia's 32 departments, and even reach Ecuador. Garavito's method was chillingly consistent. He targeted boys aged 6 to 16, often poor or homeless, who wouldn't be missed. He used disguises, posing as a priest, monk, or street vendor to gain their trust. He'd offer candy, money, or jobs, then lead them to isolated areas. There, he'd bind their wrists, subject them to prolonged torture, and kill them, often by slitting their throats or decapitating them. In some cases, he committed necrophilia, or mutilated the bodies, placing severed genitals in their mouths. He even kept trophies like amputated toes, which he later discarded to avoid detection. By 1996, Garavito was killing at an alarming rate, sometimes multiple boys in a single day. He documented his crimes in a notebook, keeping photos, receipts, and even victims' IDs in a black suitcase. He was meticulous, always changing disguises and moving to new towns to avoid suspicion. Locals in Trujillo called him Goofy for his generosity to children, unaware he was the monster they feared. How could someone kill over 190 boys and not get caught for 7 years? The answer lies in Colombia's chaos. The civil war and cartel violence overwhelmed law enforcement. Missing street children weren't a priority. No one reported them, and no one investigated. Garavito exploited this perfectly. He targeted the forgotten, blending into society with his disguises. It wasn't until 1997, when a mass grave of 36 boys was found near Pereira, that authorities began to connect the dots. The discovery was horrific, bodies mutilated, bearing signs of sexual assault. Investigators initially thought a satanic cult was responsible, but in 1998 another clue emerged. 3 boys found dead on a hillside, hands bound, throats slit. Nearby, police found a handwritten letter with an address. It belonged to Garavito's girlfriend. Still, He slipped through their fingers, moving from town to town. On April 22, 1999, Garavito's luck ran out. In Villavicencio, Meta, he attempted to assault 12-year-old John Ivan Sabogal, but a local man heard the boy's cries, attacked Garavito with stones, and freed the child. The boy alerted police, who launched a massive search. Hours later, Garavito was caught walking out of the mountains, identified by the boy, and arrested for attempted rape. Police didn't immediately realize they had La Bestia, but as they investigated, the pieces fell into place. DNA from Garavito's cell matched evidence from crime scenes. His suitcase revealed photos, journals, and victim mementos. During a 12-hour interrogation in October 1999, Garavito broke. Sobbing, he confessed to raping, torturing, and murdering 147 boys, later admitting to over 190. He even drew maps to help police find the graves. His confession was chilling. He said he got drunk, targeted boys to relive his own childhood abuse, and killed to silence them. In December 1999, Garavito was convicted of 138 murders, with other cases still under investigation. His sentence? A staggering 1853 years and 9 days, the longest in Colombian history. But here's the catch. Colombian law capped imprisonment at 40 years. And because Garavito helped police find bodies, his sentence was reduced to 22 years. This sparked outrage across Colombia. Families of victims protested, demanding justice for the boys who were tortured and forgotten. Garavito's case exposed flaws in Colombia's justice system. How could a man who killed over 190 children serve just 22 years? Public fear grew as his potential release date approached in 2021. In prison, Garavito was kept isolated for his safety, studying to become a politician and claiming to be a reformed Christian. But many doubted his remorse, especially after his 2021 parole request was denied for unpaid victim fines. Luis Garavito died in a hospital in Valledupar, Colombia, on October 12, 2023, at age 66 from cancer. His death closed a dark chapter, but the scars remain. His crimes forced Colombia to confront its failures, the ignored street children, the overwhelmed police, and the lenient laws. Reforms followed, including better victim support and stricter laws for crimes against children. But Garavito's legacy is also a warning. His ability to exploit society's blind spots shows how predators can thrive in chaos. His psychological profile, a victim of abuse turned abuser, raises tough questions about nature, nurture, and evil. Some estimate his victim count could exceed 300, making him one of the most prolific serial killers ever. Yet, his story isn't just about numbers, it's about the boys whose lives were stolen and the families left with nothing but grief. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect. How could someone like Garavito go unnoticed for so long? What can we do to protect the most vulnerable in our communities? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. And if this story shook you, hit that like button to spread awareness. True crime isn't just about the horror. It's about learning from the past to prevent future tragedies. Also, let's honor the victims. Their names may not all be known, but their lives mattered. If you'd like, light a candle or say a prayer for them. And if you're curious about other infamous serial killers, check out our video on Pedro Lopez, the Monster of the Andes, linked in the description. That's it for today's deep dive into the horrific crimes of Luis Garavito, La Bestia. If this story gripped you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. We're diving into more true crime cases in the coming videos, including a shocking story from the 1980s. You won't want to miss it. Share this video with friends who love true crime and let us know what case you want us to cover next.